Why are you so worried? This spa hotel is wonderful. I checked the reviews myself, and I love researching them, my mother-in-law proudly said. Indeed, the hotel was filled with charm, but I had endless worries. I thought my mother-in-law must have sensed my concerns, yet there was something off. Despite our anxieties, Tony and I stepped into the hotel. Then, the hotel manager told us, "Run away now." Thanks to her warning, we literally survived. Later, everyone was furious when they learned why my mother-in-law had caused such a situation. My name is Sandra. I am 32 years old, and so is my husband, Tony. We've been married for just 1 year. I work as a nurse, and he works in a regular company. We met through a friend, though we work in different professions. I married late because I need to be cautious due to my constitution. It's because of allergies. Generally, these would be hay fever or atopic dermatitis, but in my case they are severe. I show a strong allergic reaction, especially to meat, and consuming it causes respiratory distress. Some foods can even trigger anaphylactic shock, and in the worst case, could be life-threatening. Not only do I need to completely avoid meat, but also soups and broths containing its essence, which is quite troublesome. As a result, my food choices are significantly limited. Since discovering this food allergy, the number of times I eat out has drastically decreased. I can't be fully sure of the ingredients used, and there's always the possibility that they might contain meat, so I can't even eat pasta, which I used to love, anymore. Since having this allergy, my pleasure has become making and enjoying my own version of pasta at home. Although I have had many friends who are understanding, finding a partner was much harder. Eating out is difficult for me, and I need to pay careful attention to food, which tends to burden my potential partner. Even I myself find the situation to be a hassle. Even if one doesn't have allergies, dealing with someone who does can evoke complex feelings. Yet my current husband understands my allergies and interacts with me naturally. If I want to eat out, he chooses and reserves a seafood or vegetarian restaurant, and at home, he prepares alternative meats including soy meat. When dining out, he also checks in advance if the food contains meat or if it can be prepared without it. He really takes meticulous care of me, and I am convinced that I could not meet another wonderful person like him, so I proposed to him. I earn more than other nurses my age. I have the financial ability to support you, so please stay by my side. Just seeing you smile makes me happy. Tony responded to my proposal with a smile. No one has ever made such an offer to me before. Then, I promise to always make you smile, Sandra. I'm looking forward to our life together. This is how our married life began. Of course, even though Tony said he'd be happy to be supported, he didn't become a stay-at-home husband and continued working. I also discussed my allergies with my in-laws. I was worried about whether they would understand, but they accepted it smoothly. If you can't eat meat, you can eat fish or other things. That's right, there are various other ingredients in the world. My mother-in-law is a housewife and often takes me out on my days off. She frequently suggests, "Let's eat at this restaurant today," or "I found a seafood restaurant where you can eat safely today," and makes various considerations. I am grateful for her thoughtfulness, but also feel sorry to her. Therefore, when she suggests eating out, I often ask to do activities that do not involve eating. My mother-in-law replies, "Don't worry about it. I enjoy looking for places, but I still prefer outings that don't involve eating." I might be seen as selfish, but being continually accommodated is indeed stressful. Around this time, my promotion to head nurse was decided. When I shared the joy of my promotion with my husband, he immediately informed my in-laws. They were very happy and said they would celebrate. I hope we can eat something delicious to celebrate, I thought. However, my mother-in-law suggested, let's all go on a trip. I was surprised by the unexpected proposal, and I hesitated because of my allergies. Then my mother-in-law reassured me, don't worry, Sandra. I'll take care of your allergy precautions. Could you leave the scheduling and choice of accommodations to me? I agreed immediately. Are you sure it won't be too much trouble? I asked. Tony's father responded, Sandra, you don't have to think it's a bother yourself. Mom said she'll handle it, so you can leave it to her without worry. She loves traveling. Encouraged by my father-in-law, our trip with my husband's parents was decided. The date was set for a month later, considering my work schedule. During that time, my mother-in-law was visibly excited. I was also influenced by my mother-in-law's cheerful demeanor and felt happy. I asked several times about the hotel we would be staying at, but was told it'll be a surprise, which heightened my anticipation. As an allergy precaution, I decided to bring an allergy badge. Allergy badges are easily purchasable online, making them convenient to obtain. Many people who cannot remove their masks due to allergies like hay fever also seek these badges, and I took this opportunity to buy one. However, my allergy is rare, and it was difficult to find a badge for it, but I finally found a cute one and attached it to my bag. My mother-in-law saw it and complimented, "Oh, that's very charming. Modern things are so convenient." I proudly showed it to my husband. "How is it? Isn't it cute?" "It's nice, very cute. It's convenient because it immediately shows your allergy, right?" I was lucky to find such a good one. With this, I'll feel more secure even when eating out. My husband was very pleased to see me happy. Finally, my mother-in-law announced the destination of our trip. The destination was by the sea, a place abundant with restaurants serving fresh seafood. For me, who was looking forward to eating out more than the usual sightseeing, this plan was truly welcome news. Especially because I have an allergy, it's often difficult to enjoy eating out, so I was really looking forward to this trip. My mother-in-law had taken care of the allergy arrangements, and the restaurant planned for lunch was a luxurious one that is also considerate of people with allergies. On the day of the trip, my mother-in-law was very joyful, and her excitement was infectious to our family, making us all thrilled. We drove for 3.5 hours to our destination, with my husband driving. Along the way, we stopped at a service area and enjoyed the recommended foods that my mother-in-law had researched beforehand. I was thrilled by this food tour, a rare experience that made my heart leap. My husband showed no signs of tiredness from driving, and he enjoyed the tourist spots like a child. This was our first trip together since our honeymoon, and I felt we should have traveled sooner, as it was so enjoyable. For lunch, we enjoyed exquisite Italian cuisine. The hotel for the night of our stay was a traditional hotel, chosen considering my preferences. I was truly grateful for my mother-in-law's thoughtfulness. In the afternoon, after touring the tourist spots and walking along the coast, we selected souvenirs for our colleagues at work and neighbors at a souvenir shop. It was an indescribably fun time. When we headed to the hotel for check-in before 3 p.m., we were a bit surprised. The hotel was not by the sea but located deep in the mountains. Tony also drove through the mountains with a puzzled look. "Hey, Mom, is the hotel we're staying at tonight really this deep in the mountains?" Tony asked, but the car continued deeper into the mountains. My father-in-law also looked worried and suggested, "Mom, are you sure this is okay? There's no sea nearby. Considering Sandra, maybe we should go back." However, my mother-in-law confidently replied, "It's fine. This is the right place. I've booked a special spa hotel," her expression slightly eerie. Still, we followed my mother-in-law's decision and headed for the hotel. The spa hotel we arrived at was indeed a grand and luxurious building, but it definitely had the atmosphere of a secluded, solitary hotel. My mother-in-law seemed satisfied upon arrival, but I felt somewhat uneasy and couldn't stray far from my husband. My mother-in-law asked with a smile, "Why are you so worried? This spa hotel is wonderful. I checked the reviews myself, and I love researching them." Her smile felt slightly eerie. Once inside the hotel, the service was as great as my mother-in-law had mentioned, and an attendant kindly helped carry our luggage to the room. However, when the attendant took my luggage, she showed a puzzled expression for just a moment. At that time, I didn't understand the meaning behind her expression, but it later allowed me to escape a serious danger. Upon reaching the room, my mother-in-law quickly said, "Now that we're at a spa hotel, let's go to the spa," and started getting ready with enthusiasm. "Sandra, get ready quickly too," she urged me, but I replied, "I'm a bit tired, so I'll go later." "You get tired so easily for being so young." "Aren't you a nurse?" she commented. In my mind, I retorted, "I'm a nurse, and moreover, I'm a head nurse," but my mother-in-law had already left for the spa. She seemed to be enjoying herself even alone. Seeing this, I decided to take the opportunity to explore the hotel with my husband. The hotel was beautiful everywhere, perfect for taking photos, and I was excited to show them off to my colleagues later. In the thrill of the moment, I completely forgot about my worries regarding my allergies. However, the hotel manager hurried back to our room and quickly ushered me alone to another room. I was surprised by her efficiency. In front of my bewildered self, she declared firmly, "Run away now." "What? What do you mean?" I reacted in shock. I couldn't understand the meaning of the hotel manager's "run away" and pressed her for more information. Why should I? There's no time to explain. To put it briefly, there's a possibility that your mother-in-law intends to harm you. I've already arranged a taxi. Please hurry and get in, and if possible, go far away. Pushed by the hotel manager's urgency, I quickly left the hotel. But why would my mother-in-law be after my life? At that moment, I still couldn't comprehend it. Struggling with my conflict between not wanting to believe that my mother-in-law could do such a thing, I relied on the escape route arranged by the hotel manager to get to the nearest station and headed home from there. While waiting for the train at the station, I received a call from the hotel manager detailing the incident, and I trembled with anger. At that moment, the image of my mother-in-law, whom I was looking forward to traveling with, suddenly appeared devilish. Unable to contain my anger, I immediately contacted my husband. He was furious as well. We informed my father-in-law that we were leaving the hotel, and it was decided that we would depart together. My mother-in-law, still enjoying the spa, was left alone at the hotel. Tony and his father drove, and I took the train home. We ended up arriving home at the same time. After arriving, we had a serious discussion about my mother-in-law's actions. The plot my mother-in-law had schemed to endanger my life was indeed related to my allergy. The hotel we were supposed to stay at was known for its cuisine that is rich in meat, which we had intentionally avoided due to my widespread meat allergies. Yet, my mother-in-law had not mentioned my extensive meat allergies at all, and had not communicated this to anyone. Thanks to the attendant noticing the allergy badge on my belongings and reporting it to the hotel manager, I was saved. It turned out the hotel manager had a daughter with allergies and understood the difficulties of allergies well due to her past hardships. Moreover, the hotel often accommodated guests with allergies and was well regarded for its responses. Despite this, my mother-in-law had intentionally concealed my allergy information. Without an allergy declaration, it is difficult to be aware of it. This is a common fact. The hotel manager was very indignant that my mother-in-law, despite fully understanding the allergy, had intentionally failed to declare it. My mother-in-law seemed to have underestimated its importance. As the night deepened, angry messages from my mother-in-law started arriving in rapid succession. "Sandra, where are you now? Do you know where Tony or my husband are?" Initially, they were just messages, but as I continued to ignore them, phone calls began to come in. "Sandra, where did you disappear to while I was at the spa? Did you leave without any contact? Are you expecting me to eat dinner for 4 by myself?" my mother-in-law said in a fit of rage. "Tony and my husband aren't at the hotel either. Surely you all went somewhere together? Come back soon?" "Yes, we are together. We are angry at your actions and have returned home," I replied. "My actions? What are you referring to?" My mother-in-law still pretended not to understand the situation. This attitude of hers infuriated me even more. "Mother, you know I have allergies. Why did you arrange for meat dishes? I heard that the hotel we booked today was not informed about my allergies. Despite your promise to take care of it, I trusted you with the travel arrangements because you promised to consider my condition. The attendant noticed my allergy badge and informed the hotel manager, which saved me from eating the hotel's food." Your way of saying that sounds a bit rude. This hotel is luxurious. Saying you don't want to eat the food here sounds quite disrespectful. I have relayed the required information as instructed by the hotel manager. In the first place, I chose this hotel based on its respectable reviews. It wasn't because of allergy concerns. Why didn't you declare my allergies? Haha, it was just out of curiosity. Anaphylactic shock? I wanted to see it happen. I've only seen it in medical dramas and movies. Sandra, you always overreact. I can't believe such an allergy could be life-threatening. While my mother-in-law laughed brightly, I noticed someone's voice coming from behind her. It seemed my mother-in-law had accidentally turned on the speaker function on her smartphone, and the voice was clearly resonating throughout the room. "No matter what you think, people with allergies cannot avoid suffering from them. Please refrain from making such careless statements. Try to imagine the pain the person will have to go through. This spa hotel is located deep in the mountains, and if an anaphylactic shock occurs, a delayed emergency transport could significantly increase the risk to his or her own life." It was the voice of the hotel manager. Hearing the hotel manager's angry voice moved me deeply. Contrary to my mother-in-law, it seems that my husband and father-in-law resonated well with my feelings and empathized with my situation. Having been silent until then, my father-in-law finally spoke up. "I never imagined you could do such a cruel act. We will carefully consider our next steps and act prudently," he said seriously. Then, my husband added, "Mom, I'm honestly shocked that you held such thoughts towards Sandra. I never doubted your consideration for allergies before. Unfortunately, I feel we need to reevaluate our relationship because of this incident." After these cold declarations from them, my mother-in-law was visibly shaken and panicked, but it was already too late. After being scolded by the hotel manager and abandoned by her husband and son, she heard someone speaking to her in a calm voice. "Good evening. This is the police. We've been informed of the incident, and it appears the situation is more severe than we thought. After hearing the details from the hotel manager, I understood the severity of the situation and had called the police. I had requested the police to respond appropriately depending on my mother-in-law's reaction, but as the situation progressed, it seemed appropriate for the police to intervene. Since my mother-in-law had planned to intentionally cause an anaphylactic shock, it was natural for her to be suspected of a crime. While the hotel manager was carefully explaining the situation, my mother-in-law suddenly screamed from behind, and the call was abruptly cut off. The developments that followed were swift. My mother-in-law was arrested by the police, and if she repeated such behavior, she was warned that no leniency would be shown next time and was released. However, this led to my father-in-law deciding to sever his relationship with my mother-in-law and declare divorce. My husband also took the situation seriously and resolved to cut off his relationship with his mother. As a result, my father-in-law carried out a division of property with my mother-in-law, but she quickly exhausted the funds. Without making any effort to escape her financial hardship, my mother-in-law sought help from our home. However, my husband remained firm in his previous decision and rejected her request. Since then, my mother-in-law has been seen working day and night locally, driven into a very tough economic situation, with the locals unable to hide their surprise at her drastically changed appearance. Meanwhile, we have maintained a good relationship with my father-in-law, and recently, my husband celebrated my promotion by booking a luxurious restaurant abundant with seafood. I am truly looking forward to this upcoming dinner and am working even harder at my job in anticipation of that day. What? You are here, mother-in-law. Yes, actually, I moved in a week ago and am already living in this house. I'll be using the room on the second floor that was yours, so you can stay in the storage room on the first floor or in the vacant room on the third floor. What? I haven't heard anything about this. What do you mean? Well, my son, the head of the house, has agreed, so I don't need your approval. Of course, the one who pays the rent has the power to make decisions. What? I doubted my ears for a moment. Is this reality? I struggled to understand why my mother-in-law was living here. It was already stressful having her visit several times a week. I can't imagine living together. Certainly, my mother-in-law lives alone and her age must be considered. It might be too late if something happens, and perhaps my husband was worried, but starting to live together without consulting me is unacceptable. Whose house does she think this is? I'm also angry with my husband. I didn't expect to be treated this way. I called my husband to confirm the facts. Hello? When I came home, your mother was here, but is it true that we are going to live together? It's true. What's wrong with that? Isn't it strange? Why didn't you consult me beforehand? I don't think there's a need to. I've explained this many times, but I'm the one paying the rent. So, you should follow my decision, right? I was so shocked I couldn't find the words. Yes, he really seems to think so. All right then, continue as you think best. It seems like you're forgetting an important point, though. Do you know from whom we're renting this house? I won't let you forget only what's convenient for you. I simply took the suitcase I had brought on my business trip and returned to my parents' house. My name is Olivia, and I am 32 years old. Currently, I work as an engineer at an IT company with a stable income and a fulfilling job that allows me to enjoy my days. Thank you for your hard work. I'll be leaving ahead. Are you leaving already? We're all going out for drinks tonight. Want to join? I have plans today. Invite me another time. Is it your boyfriend? Maybe. Work is going smoothly, and thanks to the boyfriend I started dating 6 months ago, my private life is also fun and fulfilling. I have no complaints at all. Everything feels completely satisfying. Work has been really busy lately, hasn't it? I appreciate you making time for me. No problem. I can always make time for someone I love. Thank you so much. The boyfriend a friend introduced me to was truly a considerate and wonderful person who treasured me. I was always grateful for his kindness and thoughtfulness. I was very busy during my university days, studying at a science-focused college, and I didn't have the luxury of time for romance or even for myself. Even after getting a job, I was busy learning new things every day, and I had no room to have a relationship amid all the work. However, he appeared at the end of my 20s. Meeting him felt like fate. And then I thought about a future that included marriage. The days I spent with him were truly blissful, and every day was filled with new joys. I felt deeply fulfilled and happy every day. Every time I thought about our future together, I strongly felt that I wanted to continue spending happy times with him. I want to talk about our plans for the future, about marriage. Yes, I'm thinking of formally introducing you to my parents soon. Of course, I'll propose once I wrap up some work, so just hang in there a little longer, okay? Yes, I understand. I may have rushed him, but I dreamt of being happy together even after marriage. We could clearly imagine our future together, and we're enjoying every day. In 6 months, we will get married, and my parents have decided to pay for the wedding. My parents run their own business and have offered one of their investment properties as our new home. He was raised in a single-mother household and intended to send money home. My parents were supportive of this aspect as well. While preparing to start our new life, we also respected his sense of responsibility towards his family. About the rent, can we live there for free? No, they're proposing $2,000. Normally, it would be rented out for a much higher amount, so this is a special rate. Wait, they're charging us, even though their own daughter and her husband will be living there. Actually, this property was bought as an investment, so there are expenses involved. It wouldn't make much profit. It's unreasonable to expect them to cover the maintenance costs too. But they have the money, so I think they could handle it. I was surprised by my husband's comment. I had not expected him to make such demands on my parents. They do so much for us, yet he seemed to take it for granted. Considering the support and the new home my parents provided us, I was filled with gratitude, but his response puzzled me. Hearing his comment made me think that I might need to reconsider our future living arrangements. Certainly, my parents run a business and are quite comfortable financially. Yet, I am already independent and strongly feel that I should cover my own living expenses. While it might not be a huge burden for my parents to provide the house for free, I do not think it is appropriate as an adult to rely financially on them. They manage their finances strictly as business owners, and my independence is influenced by that. Well, I think it might be a bit presumptuous to not pay any rent at all, considering we'll be living in such a large house and eventually owning it. I explained to my husband, "Your father is really stingy, isn't he? He is a business owner and has an income, so he could be a little kinder. If I were in your parents' position, I would at least provide the house for free," my husband replied. "That's why I've explained it so many times, but why don't you understand?" I wanted to argue back, but I thought that paying $2,000 a month might be tough for my husband, who had expected to live in this large house for free. Still, thinking it should be free is a bit presumptuous. "Can't we lower it to about $1,500, my husband further demanded. "What? A further discount?" It would normally cost twice this amount. I couldn't hide my surprise. Still, you can negotiate a little, right? They are your parents, after all, my husband said. What are you saying? I don't want to be so disrespectful to my parents. If you're really grateful, you wouldn't negotiate like this, I argued. Since we were already getting such a low rate, asking for an additional discount seemed too presumptuous. Moreover, if he truly appreciated my parents, he shouldn't be making such unreasonable demands. Through this discussion, I reconfirmed the difference in values between my husband and me. To live together in the future, we need mutual understanding and cooperation. Maybe he lacks a sense of gratitude. Also, my parents have said that we can move any time if we want to, right? If we decide to stay long-term, they mentioned they would transfer the property title to us. Despite my parents being so cooperative, I can't understand my husband's argument at all. How can he be so brazen? His self-centered behavior perfectly reflects the current situation. He thought it would be provided for free, so he feels that paying $2,000 is too much. That's true. But $2,000 is already the lowest price. I could possibly do $1,800, my father answered. Well, more discounts are needed. I firmly stated, if we show this much concession, he should understand, and with the $200 saved, he could send money home, right? His family is a single-mother household, isn't it? My father continued. Yes, I replied. There's no problem, and starting married life does cost money, so don't worry. Just consider your relationship as husband and wife. That's all my father kindly said. Thanks to my father's kindness, I was able to firmly express my opinion to my husband, and he eventually agreed to the rent of $1,800. Since then, we have been living without any major problems. Normally, my husband pays the rent, and I handle the other daily expenses. We bought a family car, and since I pay for the savings from my own money, my husband had more money available to spend. However, I don't waste money and generally lead a peaceful life. But my mother will be here in 30 minutes, so let's finish cleaning quickly. What? You're not going to clean before Mom arrives? No, it's not that. But why didn't you tell me earlier? It's difficult when you tell me so suddenly. I don't mind my mother-in-law visiting. But why didn't he tell me earlier? If I had been informed sooner, I would have cleaned the house and finished the chores earlier. I haven't prepared any tea either, and maybe he's not thinking because it's his own mother, but ultimately, I'm the one who feels uncomfortable. Why can't you think of that? I sighed, but it was too late to think about it. I need your help to clean up quickly now. What? It's a hassle, so you do it. It's my day off. Let me rest. What? Isn't your mother coming soon? Wouldn't it be better if you did it? I've been busy lately. What was he saying? I asked him to help clean because his mother was coming, but he didn't intend to lift a finger. I was already irritated by being told so suddenly, and his selfish comment just astounded me. I wanted to finish cleaning quickly. Are you saying I should do everything? That's really not fair, is it? You're the wife, so you should be able to handle that. Why do you always need instructions? Don't forget that I'm supporting you. Supporting? What does he mean? I don't think I am receiving any special support from my husband. Indeed, he pays the rent, but I cover the daily living expenses. Considering the expenses, I contribute more, and I can't understand his arrogant attitude. But arguing would be a waste of time. I should start cleaning immediately. While my husband watched TV on the sofa, I hurriedly cleaned. I was angry. but I managed to finish the cleaning before my mother-in-law arrived. Thank you for having me. It's been a while. Haven't you changed at all? Are you that worried? I don't think I look that old. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Really, is that so? Do they think I'm someone who would make such sarcastic remarks? Well, my mother-in-law's character hasn't changed since the old days. I understand she was raised by a single mother and cherishes her son, but her affection seems a bit excessive. Even during the marriage introduction, she looked down on me and didn't seem interested in building a good relationship with me. I'm not asking to be particularly close, but I can't understand why she dislikes me so openly. I haven't done anything bad to my mother-in-law, nor have I behaved unreasonably. I wonder what she dislikes about me. My husband sometimes says unreasonable things, and being raised by such a mother, I suppose it's somewhat inevitable. Hey, I've been thinking for a while, isn't your housekeeping a bit lacking? I wouldn't call it a filthy house, but I think you could keep it cleaner. I am trying, but I have a job every day, so I can't devote much time to it, mother-in-law. I also grew up in a single-parent household, but I kept the house clean. Such excuses are unnecessary. No, I am not making excuses. Lately, I have been especially busy, and sometimes I need to complete unfinished tasks at home. If a problem occurs with the system under development, I must finish the corrections before the deadline. If the corrections are delayed, serious issues can arise. It's frustrating to be criticized without understanding my work. Furthermore, let me say that my husband was living on social welfare. My mother-in-law does not work and is nearly in the same situation as a housewife. Although she was a single mother, she had time on her hands, so it was natural for her to do housework. Comparing her situation to mine is unfair. Moreover, we both work, so I shouldn't be the only one scrutinized but also her son who does nothing. I don't seek conflict with my mother-in-law, but when she starts complaining as soon as she visits, I get angry too. Please don't say that. I'm managing all the housework alone, and it's actually quite challenging. It might sound a bit harsh, but I need to be clear, otherwise you might not understand. What? Are you trying to get your husband to do the housework? Even if I want him to help, the reality is that he doesn't. You are the wife, so it's natural for you to do the housework. I heard that your husband pays the rent, so you should at least do the housework. Who do you think is the head of this house? How could you get married without understanding such a hierarchy? That's why I was against marriage. What? I was dumbfounded by her words and lost for a response. Please, enough with the jokes. Interfering in someone else's family is unreasonable, but talking to such a person is a waste of time and mental energy. I responded with a yes while leading her to the living room. By the way, shall we have steak today? There's a steakhouse near the station. That sounds great. Let's enjoy some good food for a change. Olivia, we're waiting at home, so could you pick up steaks for everyone as takeout? Please add mashed potatoes and lobster soup for me. Again, I was being used. Moreover, it seemed like they had no intention of pulling out their wallets. They probably planned to make me pay anyway. If I asked them for money, I could already see the complaints coming. Besides, I wanted to get out for a bit and take a walk, so the timing was good. I'm not pleased about treating them to expensive steaks, but there's no point in dwelling on it. With these thoughts, I headed to the steakhouse near the station. When I got home with the steaks, I was greeted with, "You're late. Consider that we've been waiting." Sigh. Not a single word of thanks, just complaints. It's like they're machines that produce complaints. Complaining seems as natural as breathing to them. Finding faults in others is almost admirable in a way. I thought about responding sarcastically, but I controlled my emotions and sat down. We spent the rest of the afternoon idly, and they went out to eat together in the evening. I wasn't invited, and I didn't go. They are truly rude people. When they returned home, they started drinking in the living room, and eventually, my mother-in-law stayed over. We slept in separate rooms, so it wasn't a big problem, but it felt somewhat lacking in common sense. She left the next day, but my weekend was ruined and I felt significant stress. After that, my mother-in-law started visiting almost every week. It's unclear whether she comes to say harsh things to me or to see her beloved son. As a result, I just kept accumulating stress. I have to go on a business trip for a week starting next week, so please take care of things at home. A business trip? Why all of a sudden? There's a presentation for the system we're developing. I'm involved as a key developer. I see. While the business trip was real, I was excited to finally have some time alone for the first time in a while. Every week, meetings with my mother-in-law involve listening to her complaints about housework and how a wife should behave. No matter how busy my husband is, he shirks his home responsibilities, never touches housework, and neglects his role, claiming he's the breadwinner. Fed up with this situation, I was looking at the business trip as a chance to refresh. The presentation of the new system was nerve-wracking and more tiring than my regular duties. But a week without anyone complaining and being able to do what I wanted was incredibly soothing. When I returned home from the business trip, I was shocked. "What? Were you here, mother-in-law?" "Yes, actually, I moved in a week ago and am already living in this house. I'll be using the room on the second floor that was yours. So you can stay in the storage room on the first floor or in the vacant room on the third floor." "What? I haven't heard anything about this. What do you mean?" "Well, my son, the head of the house, has agreed, so I don't need your approval. Of course, the one who pays the rent has the power to make decisions." "What?" I doubted my ears for a moment. Is this reality? I struggled to understand why my mother-in-law was living here. It was already stressful having her visit several times a week. I can't imagine living together. Certainly, my mother-in-law lives alone and her age must be considered. It might be too late if something happens, and perhaps my husband is worried, but starting to live together without consulting me is unacceptable. Whose house does she think this is? I'm also angry with my husband. I didn't expect to be treated this way. I called my husband to confirm the facts. "Hello? When I came home, your mother is here, but is it true that we are going to live together?" "It's true. What's wrong with that? Isn't it strange? Why didn't you consult me beforehand?" "I don't think there's a need to. I've explained this many times, but I'm the one paying the rent. So you should follow my decision, right?" I was so shocked. I couldn't find the words. Yet he really seems to think so. "All right then, continue as you think best. It seems like you're forgetting an important point, though. Do you know from whom we're renting this house? I won't let you forget only what's convenient for you." I took my suitcase that I had brought on the business trip and returned to my parents' house. So he just let his mother live in the house without asking. Don't you think that's strange? I see. So you've been harassed by your mother-in-law all this time. I didn't want to worry you, Dad, and everyone says it's normal, so I kept quiet, but I can't take it anymore. I see. I understand. I'll take care of it. My father said that and made a phone call. From that day, I started living at my parents' house and haven't been in contact with my husband for a week. Then came Saturday. Together with my father, we went to the house where my husband and mother-in-law were living. When we pressed the intercom, my husband, looking like he had just woken up, opened the door and frowned when he saw us. "What?" "Here's a divorce paper. Can you sign it?" "What? Wait, what does this mean?" "I know everything you and your mother have been doing. Please stop deceiving us now." My father stared at my husband sternly, and my husband was clearly frightened. He shrank completely and wouldn't even meet our eyes. However, I continued to speak. "Don't think that you can torment me and get away with it for free. No, there's no need to go that far, isn't there? Who do you think you are?" Acting all scared when divorce is mentioned, after you've ignored everything you've done. What do you think I am? Even I, who am usually calm, exploded with anger due to everything that had built up. My husband must have never expected me to get this angry, but that was proof of how much anger had accumulated. "I will certainly listen to my daughter, and from now on you will pay the full rent for this house. There will be no more discounts to a stranger, so be prepared." "What?" "Starting next month, the rent will no longer be $1,800 but $18,000. Do you understand? I've prepared the lease agreement, so after you sign the divorce papers, please sign this too." As we declared this, my husband looked overwhelmed and was unable to say anything. He must have been stunned by the amount of $18,000, but we were serious. You can't just demand such an amount suddenly, it's impossible. Why do you think it's impossible? Well, because there's no formal lease agreement for this house. Once you get divorced, we are strangers. You cannot continue to live here. If you can't pay the rent, please leave immediately. Since there was no formal contract, we were able to firmly hold our position. My husband must not have anticipated this situation, but it's too late for regrets now. He should take responsibility for his actions. We were determined to proceed resolutely, regardless of how much he resisted. However, sensing the disturbance, my mother-in-law appeared from behind. "What's going on here? What on earth is all this?" "It's been a while. To be clear, this house belongs to me. So, I need you to leave. I want a divorce for my daughter, and I have no intention of letting strangers live here." "What did you say?" "Telling us to leave. How can you say something so unreasonable?" "Who is being unreasonable here? If you want to justify your actions, please feel free to settle it in court." In court. Both my mother-in-law and my husband were shocked by the mention of court, but this was something I had already discussed with my father. We had planned to go to court if they caused problems that became unmanageable. This was my suggestion because reasoning with unreasonable people is pointless. However, due to their lack of common sense, the mention of a lawyer visibly frightened them. Where did all their previous confidence go? They looked at each other, clearly shaken. You have a job, so moving closer to your workplace is also an option, isn't it? It's just that simple. But I'm telling you, I don't have the money. You don't have the money? That must be a joke. Considering your income, you should be able to save some. Were you spending $1,000 a month on leisure? But I never felt the need to save. I was astonished. He was working normally, and the only expense he was paying was the rent. I was covering the car loan and other living expenses, so I assumed he was saving more. That's why I can't get divorced, and I can't move out. Yes, once you're married, you can't just get divorced easily. It will leave a mark on your family registry. How long will you cling to that outdated thinking? You talk about a mark on the family registry. but I would rather divorce without hesitation than live with unreasonable and self-centered people like you. You have no awareness of what you've done. This is absolutely absurd. Please stop making me angrier. You don't seem to understand how much you've done to me. That's why you can say without shame that you don't want a divorce and that you need help because you have no money. To me, that is irrelevant. And now I realize that perhaps my husband married me because he was aiming for my parents' business and their properties. Maybe he was more interested in my parents' wealth, living cheaply in this grand house, and the substantial inheritance I would eventually receive than in me personally. Please keep your disdain to yourself. Do not forget that if it goes to court, we will be at an advantage. I am giving you 1 week to leave this house. Wait a minute. Please forgive me. I'll even kneel if it's necessary. Just give me one more chance. I am confident that we can make it right. There might have been some misunderstandings, but we are a married couple who vowed to overcome any difficulties together. That's why I'm considering a divorce, because it's impossible. A marriage can't be sustained just on superficial words. Furthermore, since I've been betrayed, I can no longer trust you. Your actions have ensured that I will never trust you again. As I said before, I have a reliable lawyer on my side. Of course, you can hire a lawyer to negotiate, but considering your situation where you can't even afford moving expenses, it would be wise to avoid unnecessary costs. My father's advice is absolutely right. You don't even have the funds to move, let alone afford a lawyer. And even if you were to hire a lawyer, it would be easy for me to divorce you and evict you from the house. Therefore, there is no point in continuing this conversation. With that, I left with my father and returned to our family home. I had already blocked his phone number, so there were no calls from my husband, but messages continued to come through email and other chat apps. I was truly disheartened by their persistent actions, feeling that they did not understand what I was saying. Now I have been consistently ignoring them. My disappointment in their actions deepened, and I felt irritated that they completely failed to understand my views and emotions. However, to avoid their approach, I made an effort to stay calm and not respond to them. Our demands were clearly communicated, and if they did not comply, we had no choice but to proceed with legal actions. Our position was firm, and we were ready to resort to legal proceedings if our demands were not met. I had strong support, so there was nothing to worry about. With backing from family, friends, and professionals, I was confident that I could overcome any difficulties. By the way, what happened after that? The deadline is tomorrow, so if the divorce and move aren't complete by then, I've told them we'll call the lawyer. And this evening I received a message that they had submitted the divorce papers and were ready to pack up and leave the house. They said they would bring the keys here. That's good. Then I'll handle it. You don't need to meet them face to face, my father assured me. Thank you, Dad, I expressed my gratitude. Thanks to my father handling the key exchange, I was able to avoid meeting them face to face. From what I heard through mutual acquaintances, they are living a difficult life. My mother-in-law, lacking a job and means to make a living, searched for a new place to live with my husband. Initially, they stayed in a cheap hotel. Later, they moved into an apartment without a bath, paying a very low deposit, and began their new life together. However, compared to their previous residence, the quality of the new place is extremely low, so their daily life is filled with stress, and they constantly argue. Well, he has a job, so it might not be such a big problem. It might even seem like a luxurious worry. Apparently, the stress has led to severe spending, and they frequently ask acquaintances for money. Really? Is that true? As a result, they are increasingly distanced by friends, which must be causing them great anxiety about their future life. Financially struggling and also needing to care for his mother, it's unlikely that anyone would consider marrying him. Given his age and his inability to manage money, it will probably be better for everyone around him if he remains unmarried. While I find the situation extremely difficult and sad, I also see it as a perfect opportunity for them to recognize their mistakes and improve their behavior. Since then, I found a place to live on my own and am now enjoying a fulfilling life there. Work is going very well, as I am in charge of major projects, and I feel fulfilled in my job. My relationship with my parents is also very good. I haven't decided whether I would get married again, but for now I am focusing on enjoying my current life. No matter how much money one has, ultimately, relationships with people are the most important. I believe that if you can build healthy, good relationships, you can lead a happy life, even if there are times of financial difficulty. Moving forward, I hope to enrich my life without being confined by money, cherishing the valuable relationships with friends and family,